Just hours from now, the House will be voting on Speaker John Boehner's plan to raise the debt limit. There is clearly a lack of unity within the party. Here to talk about today's vote is Republican James Lankford of Oklahoma. Congressman, thanks so much for being with us. Are you backing the Speaker?
I am backing the Speaker because it is the closest thing we can get to actually getting something to start real reforms in the system. That's been the challenge all along, is how do we start actually reforming the way that we handle our debt? And instead of just trying to pay something down, let's start getting a process in place where we can fix this problem.
So, Congressman, do you think, as a member of the party, if Boehner's tough talk has made a difference?
No, I think the plan has made the difference. The issue is, when it first came out, we had great unanimity over cut, cap, and balance. It has the three basic features that we think need to be done to start stabilizing our debt and our economy. That's doing some immediate cuts, that's starting a process for slowing down the way we spend money over the next 10 years, and a balanced budget amendment. This new plan has all those features. It's something he negotiated with Harry Reid. That they worked all this out last weekend to say, what does Harry Reid need in it? He needs this select committee that is really important to him. We thought it was really important to get a vote on a balanced budget amendment. So this was a compromise agreement that was formed last weekend that now the Senate's complaining about. But in reality, they worked out all the details of this behind the scenes.
Congressman, this is Matthew Dowd. How are you?
I am doing well, thank you.
I have a question. I know you got recently elected, and most of the American public thinks the process in Washington is broken, and this is just symptomatic of that broken process. And if we get through this and finally get a deal done, what do you think needs to get done to fix the process in Washington that seems incredibly dysfunctional in most Americans' minds?
Yeah, there has to be a fence around Congress. There seems to be no parent in the room, and there seems to be no deadlines for anything. I think the whole community and the whole nation is all worked up about this because there's a deadline, and Congress typically never has any deadlines. For the past 2 years, the Senate hasn't even presented a budget at all. And if you go back to the 1974 Budget Act, it's required that the House and the Senate do it. They just skip it and say, no, we're not going to do it. And so when they hit points like this, when we have to do something, everyone tries to figure out what do we do, because now we suddenly have to do something.
Okay,
we have 21 extensions on a FAA plan. We have no budget from the Senate. We have just this ongoing, let's put it off, let's put it off, let's put it off. At some point, we've got to have a parent in the room, and I think the parent in the room is a constitutional amendment to make us have to balance our budget every year.
So, Congressman, you say you have to do something. So I'm just curious, would you vote for a weaker bill?
Well, we don't know what that weaker bill would be. My issue is not amount of spending, and that seems to be the real debate here. One group is focused on, let's do whatever it takes to get through the second. Another group is looking at it saying, how do we reform the systems? Because if we upgrade or we pay this piece for the debt ceiling, and now we're suddenly approaching $17 trillion in debt, that doesn't look better either. So both of them are bad options. What we've got to do is be able to find out a way, how do we get out of this? And currently, there's no plan out there to pay off this debt. And so we've got, our focus has been, how do we get out of this? How do we start paying down debt?
Congressman, where do you think the White House fell down on this, on the leadership on this? I mean, obviously, I think that they're well-intentioned, and everybody seems to agree that this is a big problem that we got to deal with. But where do you think the president and the White House fell down on leadership on this?
The frustration with the White House is their lack of willingness to present a plan of their own. And that's been the frustration. They wanted to get behind closed doors. They started with the vice president, get the House and the Senate together, instead of doing the traditional way. The Senate creates a plan, the House creates a plan, the president creates a plan, we all try to work together. Everybody sees it, we debate all the options. They wanted instead to put everything behind closed doors, work out all the details, and then at some point come out with a plan that everyone holds hands on.
Congressman,
the issue is, it's hard to do that.
If the bill is defeated in the House, is Boehner's job at risk?
No. I really don't think it is. He's been working very hard on this. He's been meeting with the White House. He's been meeting with the Senate. He's been trying to go through the process of getting this resolved. He's had it in front of our group since December of last year when we first met in planning for this session. We've been talking about this and preparing for how do we get this resolved, because we know we have to do it.
All right. Congressman Lankford, thanks so much for the time. Congressman James Lankford joining us there from Capitol Hill. He is the representative from Oklahoma.